Hello, I'm Amy the Bunny Lady, and this is my partner, Elusive, Ellie for short. Give me a kiss. Give me a kiss. And today we are going to go over how to transition your rabbit from a young rabbit diet to an adult diet. If you're new to my channel, welcome. We go over tips and tricks for how to make sure you have a happy and healthy bunny in your home. So if that's the kind of thing that you're interested in, go ahead and click that subscription button and the notification bell next to it so that you never miss any of my weekly videos. So many of you watching this now will have a young rabbit that you just got and they're so sweet, but they're growing up. And you know that you eventually will have to switch them over from from a diet that is good for young rabbits to a diet that is good for adults. With rabbits, you don't want to make a transition from a young rabbit diet to an adult rabbit diet overnight. A young rabbit diet is going to be alfalfa-based rather than the adult rabbit diet that is going to be timothy-based. Also, young rabbits, since they're still growing, they can have much more food, especially the pellets, than their adult counterparts. Young rabbits also have a more sensitive digestive system since they haven't had time to get used to a lot of new foods. So the leafy greens that you give them, you can increase them and give them more variety as they get older. These are the types of things that you want to think about when you are transitioning your rabbit to their adult diet. So you should start transitioning your rabbit when they are about 6 months old, and then over the next 6 to 12 months, you will start to move your rabbit slowly over to their adult diet. Usually rabbits will reach their full adult height at about 1 to 1.5 years, so that's about the amount of time that you want to think of adjusting your rabbit's diet, so that you can decrease their pellets and switch over to a timothy-based diet when they are no longer growing anymore. First, let's talk about transitioning a rabbit to timothy hay. Young rabbits, babies until about 6 months, but when you'll start to transition them, should be getting mainly alfalfa hay. I love you. And alfalfa hay is higher in calcium and protein and good things like that that are good for helping rabbits to gain weight, which is good for young rabbits. However, it's not great for older rabbits, adult rabbits who are already at a healthy weight and don't need to continue to gain weight. It is ideal for adult rabbits to have a timothy hay-based diet. Unfortunately, alfalfa hay is usually yummier to rabbits than timothy hay, so making this transition is not always easy. Young rabbits will often protest wanting to only eat the alfalfa hay, so it's definitely going to be a slow transition of getting your rabbit to eat this other rougher and maybe less sweet to a rabbit kind of hay. You want to start by really just adding one little handful a day of the timothy hay to the alfalfa hay that they get. First month or so, just start adding a little bit of a handful of the timothy hay. Then over time, you will slowly adjust the percentage of hay that is alfalfa versus timothy. So then after a month or so, start giving them maybe half of their hay will be the timothy hay, and then half of their hay will be the alfalfa hay. And then slowly over time, you'll start to give them more and more timothy hay with less and less alfalfa hay. By doing this slow transition, you'll help your young rabbit get used to the timothy hay a little bit at a time, and they'll still have that alfalfa hay to keep them interested and growing, but the timothy hay won't be suddenly just shock, oh man, where's all the yummy stuff go? So you want to make that slow transition to get them used to it. If your rabbit is really protesting and will not eat their timothy hay, they're just being a super picky rabbit about it, then I actually do have a video that can help you. It's about the ways you can help your picky eater bunny to eat their hay, because hay is absolutely essential to helping a rabbit maintain their health. So go check that out if that is a problem that you're having in this process. Alright, now let's start to go over rabbit pellets. Now, young rabbits that are still growing can actually have quite young rabbits that are growing can actually have quite a bit of pellets. Many guides will say actually unlimited pellets, and I agree with that to the extent that as long as they are still eating hay also, they can have unlimited pellets. But if they're only eating their pellets and not their hay, then you should actually limit the pellets a little bit. But basically young rabbits can have almost unlimited pellets, whereas adult rabbits you actually want to very strictly limit their pellets so that they don't end up gaining weight and then eating the pellets instead of their hay that's much healthier. So you want to make sure you make this transition for your rabbit. You are also going to be switching your rabbit from alfalfa-based pellets to timothy-based pellets, which same with alfalfa and timothy hay, usually the alfalfa ones taste a little bit better to rabbits. So the transition is not necessarily going to be their favorite in the world. Over the course of these 6 to 12 months that your rabbit is starting to reach adulthood, they're not quite a baby anymore, but they are headed to their full weight, that is going to be when you want to slowly change your rabbit's diet. Going slow helps their digestion get used to the change, and it also helps their taste buds get used to it also, so it's not just a complete switch all at once. For the first month or two, really what you're going to want to do is just give them a little handful of their timothy pellets along with their alfalfa-based pellets. And then you're going to want to start decreasing the amount of pellets that you give your rabbit until it's slowly decreased to the amount that they'll have when they're healthy. This is going to be, on average, a tablespoon of pellets per pound of your rabbit's weight. I do have a video that goes over like everything to do with an adult rabbit diet, and it goes over the exact amounts, like in a chart, very easy to read, of how much pellets you should give your adult rabbit. So you're going to end up slowly decreasing the amount of pellets you give your young rabbit until you give them that healthy amount. So check out that video if you want to go make sure that you are on the right track. During this time, you will be both decreasing the amount of pellets that you give your rabbit and slowly moving them over to the timothy-based pellets. And you can take 6 months or so to make this change so that it's not a shock to your rabbit and they will slowly get used to the new pellets as they go. Now let's talk about your rabbit's leafy greens. So young rabbits, they can have some leafy greens, but it's going to be a much smaller amount, a much smaller portion of their diet than in adult rabbits. So over the 6 to 12 months, you're going to slowly increase the amount of greens that they get. You can also introduce new varieties of greens. Young rabbits will have maybe 1 or 2 types that you'll give them on a regular basis. But as they get to be adult rabbits, you can experiment, introduce new types of greens to them. You always want to be careful when introducing new foods to rabbits because they do have a sensitive digestive system. So I'll only give them a little bit of a new type of green at a time. So say you want to introduce parsley to your rabbit, you can give them maybe 1 or 2 sprigs on the first day just to make sure that everything with their digestion is going fine. And then maybe give them a couple more sprigs the next day, just to be doubly sure. And then you can give them a little bit more after that. So just give them a little bit of whatever new green you want to introduce, just to make sure their digestion will handle it. And then you can start to give them more and increase it to the amount that is healthy for them. Again, I have that in that Rabbit Diet 101 video. So once they reach about a year to a year and a half, you can have them on that healthy amount of leafy greens that's good for an adult diet. Now here's the fun part. Once your rabbit reaches 6 months old, you can start to introduce treats to them. Now, treats always need to be in moderation, but rabbits love treats. Now, treats are mostly going to be fresh or dried fruits and vegetables. You can also have baked hay treats that just have a little bit of fruit flavoring. But generally it's not going to be those like bags of mixed pieces of like seeds and stuff that you find at a pet store. Instead, you'll find probably most of them in your grocery store. So things like raisins or like fresh strawberries or fresh raspberries can actually be pretty decent treats for rabbits. Just make sure to only give it in moderation, small amounts. Just like with the leafy greens, you want to make sure to introduce the treats to your rabbit just a tiny bit at a time, just to make sure that it is okay for your rabbit's digestion and that they're handling it well. And then you can slowly increase the amount of treats that you give your rabbit, but you do want to keep it to about a teaspoon of treats per pound of weight a day, teaspoon or less. So you do want to make it a special occasion treat, especially because young rabbits are going to weigh less, so that means you can give them less treats. But you can feel free to experiment and find out what your rabbit's favorites are as they get older, and then you can start to reward them with yummy treats. As I mentioned earlier, you can check out that Rabbit Diet 101 video that's got everything you need to know about a healthy adult diet, so that as you are transitioning your young rabbit, you are transitioning them to a healthy diet. If you have found this information useful, feel free to hit the little subscription button and the thumbs up. This is actually really useful in helping get this video out to other people. So thank you so much for watching, and I do hope to see you next week.